Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the third part of my series on basically how to adult. Today I want to teach you guys the basics of how to create a resume. Because basically you're going to need a resume to apply to any job. Now your resume is going to be tailored towards whatever job you are applying for, but I'm just going to be teaching you some of the basics of what should be in pretty much every resume. First thing I'm going to mention is that your resume should be between 1 and 2 pages. I would say try to aim for 1 if you can and you maybe don't have that much experience and things to put on your resume. And if you need to, you can make it 2. But really don't make it any longer than that, because I heard somewhere that employers spend about 10 seconds looking at people's resumes. So you don't want it long because they're not going to be spending much time looking at it or reading through everything. So you want it to just basically say a quick snapshot of who you are, what you've done, your previous experience, the skills that you earned, and how that has prepared you for the job that you are applying for. I personally actually have 2 resumes. I have one that's 1 page and is kind of just an overall general resume I could kind of use for anything, and then I have a 2-page academic resume that goes more in depth with all of my research and teaching experience and things like that. So depending on what I'm using the resume for, I would use different ones and even change it slightly for whatever the career is. Alright, but let's go ahead and get into the actual formatting and basics of what to put into your resume. So I've got my laptop here and I'm going to screen record it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Now the first thing I want to note is that when you go to open up a new Word document, there's going to be a bunch of templates. And you can even look up resume templates. So here you go, here's a whole bunch of different designs and you could easily choose one of these. And there is no one way to format a resume, there's so many different ways you could do it. So don't feel like you have to do it a certain way or like your way is wrong or anything like that. It probably isn't. Here's an example of one that looks pretty simple, I think. Name, contact information, objectives or education, skills, abilities, your previous work experience, and basically you can use these templates even if you're not going to be using it like word for word and just filling it in right from there. You can use it to get a good idea of what you will need. Like you should know that you will need your work experience and you will need the title, company, dates, when you worked there and when you left. So these templates, which are also not just in Word, they're on the internet everywhere, are really helpful to just get started. So that's it, those are the basics, but you also don't have to use one of these templates. If you want to, you can start from a totally blank slate. So let's say that you're doing that. The very first thing you're going to want on your resume is your name. And you will want it big and bold. It should be the biggest thing on there. They need to know your name. Under your name, you're going to want your contact information. This will be things like your email address, phone number, and possibly even your street address, but that's not as important. You also want all of this to be professional, so don't make your email be that email that you made when you were 13 that was sparkleponyunicorns@gmail.com. I'm sure we all have one of those emails, at least I hope it's not just me. Don't put that on your resume, they don't want to see that. You want to make it a professional email. So for example, you know, like first name dot last name or something like that, or your school address or whatever. So next, one of the things you might want on there is your objective. What career are you applying for? How do you think you're going to be good for that? Basically, what is your objective for that job and what do you want to get out of it? I would say this isn't like a totally necessary part of your resume, but I do think it's helpful. Next, I think it's good to have education. Put where you went to school, put the city and state, put when you graduated. If you want to, put GPA and things like that. I will say that if you are in college or beyond, they will not care about high school. Right now, I'm applying to graduate schools, so I've been kind of perfecting my resume to make it really good for graduate school, but I don't have anything on there that happened before I went to college. They don't care about any of that. Basically, they want to know what you've done now and what your skills and abilities are now. So I don't bother putting my high school or anything like that on there, but I do put my college and I put my intended graduation date. Next, it's good to list some skills and abilities. So for instance, if you are really good at programming, put that here. Or maybe you're really good with Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. Or maybe you're really good at working in groups, and then if you say something like this, give examples. Or maybe you're a really strong leader or something like that. Basically just all those good qualities about you, put them there. But also don't put things if they don't apply to the job that you're applying for. So let's say that you are applying to become a restaurant server. They probably do not care at all if you are good at programming or Microsoft Word. But they would care if you are someone who can work well under times of stress, or you're a good people person and you can work well with others. So basically just make sure that it's all relevant. Next, one of the most important parts of your resume is your previous work experience. So let's say that you used to work at some restaurant and you worked there from 2016 to 2018. You'd also want to include city and state. Now, one thing that is common on resumes that I've seen is to actually have the dates of where you worked somewhere over on the right-hand side. So to do this in Word, I found the easiest way is to put your cursor in front of what you want to be over on the right, go to Paragraph, and select the Tabs button, and then you'll want a tab stop position over on the right, and you'll want it at about 6.5 inches because you can see here the ruler on the top. And by the way, if you can't see the ruler on the top, go to View and select Ruler if it is not already. Go back to Home, Paragraph, Tabs, right tab, tab stop position, do 6.5, hit Set, and then OK. Now, if you're here and you hit the Tab button, it's going to magically go over to the right. And that makes it so that everything on the right-hand side that you put over there is going to be flush. When I first made a resume, I had no idea how to do that, so I ended up like tabbing and spacing things all the way over to the right, and then it was just a mess when I tried to change something over on the left, or things were just slightly misaligned and it just looked really bad. So don't do that, do it the right way. We'll also notice that there's the little right indent thing there at the 6.5 centimeters, and that shows you that you have that tab indent over there. So under restaurant server, you would want to say some of your responsibilities during that job, as well as some of the skills you learned. So maybe it required time management, maybe you had to clean up afterwards, and again, you probably had to work with a group. Let's say you were a pizza delivery driver, and then again, let's say that you worked there in 2015. So you would again tab over there, 2015, there you go. You want your work experience to be in reverse chronological order. So you want the last place that you worked to be at the top, or where you're currently working. If you're currently working there, you can just put like 2017 to present or something like that. And then you want the place that you worked before then to be below that, and down the list from there. Now, just a few other categories that are not really necessary, but you could have on your resume if you like, are things like extracurricular activities. So maybe you play the cello, or you're on the softball team, or something like that. Maybe you do a lot of volunteer work for a local charity. Another thing you could include are awards or honors you've received for different things. Publications would also be important, but that would be more for a CV or a curriculum vitae rather than a resume. And yeah, I think that's about it. Just make sure that it looks nice and it's professional and presentable and it's clear and concise. Don't make it long. You have this one page to really say who you are. And just make sure to, again, like I've said a lot in this video, tailor it towards the job that you are applying for. Make sure that skills and things like that you state are actually important for that job, and even maybe previous work experience. If you have experience with something related to that job, mention that. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys found this video somewhat helpful, and if any of you have some other advice, again, please leave it in the comments below so that others can see it. We're all here to help each other. And again, I don't know everything, but I'm just trying to teach you guys some of the basics and things that I have learned from my own experience. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Subscribe if you want to stick around, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!